If I could get everyone's attention, thank you all for making it here tonight. It's really a special show and a special grouping of artwork. The artwork within this show scans a period of over 60 years, which is a rarity when you're able to have, an active artist and be able to show, a body of work and how it's progressed and different stages that the artist has gone through over the years. The earliest painting in the show is the female nude that's on the other side of this wall here. It's the abstract nude. That is a painting that Hal did while at Hastings College in either 1960 or 61. We progressed there. We have a couple of his paintings from the 70s. We have, the standing nude, and we have, the girl on top of the mountaintop. What will be the proper title for that? Sweet Georgia. And one of his truck stop painting, I guess it would be Grand Island Diner sort of painting over there that's harkening back to the 1980s when Hal was head of the Stir Museum. I've been working with Hal since really I had a driver's license. It's shuttling paintings, there and back, and then when I started, doing this professionally, Hal's been, a great friend, a great artist, just a great spokesman of the Nebraska art scene. He is, he will give a few words and then we'll take any questions and explore the other floors of the gallery while you're here too. And again, thank you all for coming. Hal.
Pardon my sitting, I'm using a bad knee here tonight. Anyway, in terms of comments, some years ago I showed an artist in Kansas City, and the show was invitational, and of course, they all asked for artist statements. And of course, I ground out something very profound and mystical and so forth. This one artist's comment was, "My work is my statement." I thought it's kind of a smart aleck response. But over time, I've come to appreciate that because after a while, this is all visual. Words don't really convey what I intend. And my work, as you can see, has changed over the years with different styles, different approaches. So people ask me, what is your most significant work? I say, well, what year are you talking about? But it's been a fun journey, and yeah, it's kind of shocking to hear the word 60 years. So this is kind of a summation of structure of my work. And heavily on Nebraska skies, even more so in the last few years. And I just hope to keep on working. That's all I can. And the longer I work, as I said, the fewer words I have to say, but I will entertain questions from the end.
Who would like to ask the master a question?
Well, that was easy.
Well, all right. Well, Hal, tell me, like, is there a favorite period or is there a favorite memory within that any of these older pieces sort of bring back?
The places, I guess, more than anything else. I've worked in mountain areas, and past that, I love those areas. So seeing these paintings again always makes me think of fond memories of that region. Montana, Canada, Wyoming. Seeing some of the early Nebraska landscapes remind me that I've lived out of state for some years, and coming back to Nebraska every time, I would say, something about the primal earth-sky relationship here that I've got to do something about. So, my first training years were in abstract primarily, and so coming to terms with the landscape, I knew I had to work outdoors. And so I was 7 years old, and I was absolutely shocked with the idea of bringing this universal size around me down to 12 by 16 and 16 by 20. And I never stayed in those old studies. They were horrific, terrible, terrible things. I say some of the images which I'll never show you. But it was a way to learn, come to terms with the earth and the sky. And I've never lost that love for plains and the skies of Nebraska. And having been raised on a farm, I knew the power of skies, both good and bad. I was raised on a dryland farm in central Nebraska. And I saw everything from hail destroying our crops to hail wrecking our buildings, nearby tornadoes. We saw beneficial aspects of rain and bring crops. So yeah, I could never see skies as being something pleasant or placid for the most part. They were a dynamic, important force. Now in terms of the environment especially, I think they're even more important. That's why some of the more recent paintings have gone to more dramatic skies, less romantic, but more overpowering, because I want that raw power of the sky to come forth.
What artists have been the most influential in your work? Are there any particular historical artists which you drew inspiration from?
Again, it changes from decade to decade depending on what style I'm working in. Early on, Edward Hopper was a very strong influence. Excuse me, before I start trying Andrew Wyeth, we should just start a romantic approach to painting. And over the last 20 years or so, I've really begun to study the Renaissance period artists and their techniques and materials especially. I have started to incorporate mixtures of powders into my paints. I found out that Rembrandt did this as well as many other artists of that period. We had the opportunity to be at the Hermitage Museum in St. Petersburg, Russia a few years ago. And they have I think 14 Rembrandts, which is amazing. But one of my favorite paintings there was Christ Descent from the Cross. And it was huge. It has to be like 12 feet tall. And the paint on that, I swear, was a quarter-inch thick in some places. And I thought, well, how in the world could it be so versatile? I know that they do restorations and so forth, but I read too that his paintings hold up really, really well. It turns out he used powdered glass, powdered chalk, various other powders in his paint. The painting of Jocelyn has some crushed mineral in it. So I've kind of adopted that a little bit, studying some of the colors, color mixing, so forth. Yeah, that was across the board.
See,
why did you abandon the figure?
you just did it so well.
This is Stephen Roberts, by the way. He's a marvelous painter. I did a lot of painting of the figure when I was still in Denver, living in Denver. And moving to Nebraska, again, I got so overwhelmed by the earth and sky thing, and I spent more time, I guess, sorting things out that I need to focus on. I did a lot of sculpture in the past too, including the figures. But I just figured it's time to zero in and focus on a few things well. Try to do a few things well. But I enjoy the work very much, yeah.
Could you describe for the group sort of that moment in the morning that you like to catch? And then, so could you describe
Your favorite time, your favorite time in the day to paint in the morning.
Mornings, yes.
Yeah, but the moment.
The moment.
The moment in the morning that like you encapsulate. Can you describe like
the idea of the dawn, I guess, a new day. I jokingly say sometimes that the older I get, the more I appreciate dawns. But I will tell one story I think I told Nate, his son.
There are so many people back here that.
it's as loud as it can go, Mom.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. I'll try to be more forceful. I told Nate and his son John about an event that occurred about 10 years ago now. When I woke up one morning, it was still dark. I went out to the paper. It was December or January. It was very warm outside. And I thought, something's going to happen. So I got some coffee. I made my hand drove to an old side road south of Bellevue and waited for sunrise. But well, get some good images here. So I sat there and waited, and as I waited, it was dark. I think there's the clouds forming and so forth. And then I saw this dark red band form across the bottom. And I still get the shakes when I think about it. It literally made me weak in the knees. It was such a powerful experience. It was like seeing the first dawn, and it was. I really felt in that moment I was on the planet. I know it sounds corny, but it was true. And I've had several experiences with skies over time that have reinforced my want to do these images.
One other question, if you don't mind. When you do your paintings, how much of it is from life? Do you use photographs as part of it? Do you do some of it just out of your head? Or what's your process, like a painting like that has a beautiful light on that cloud? And is that coming from, well, how do you write that in?
Okay. There's a study on the other wall back here, a small reddish study of the Loup River that was done on site. And that was done maybe 10, 15 years ago. Maybe. And this painting I did just recently. When I do a certain study, certain studies will result in maybe 4 or 5 paintings if I'm lucky. Other paintings come from memory. Some I take photographs and give for reference. So some of each.
I have a few of your works. One of them, as you've seen in the pictures, is the seascape. Do you remember where you painted that?
I spent a short time living in California, and I love the area around San Luis Obispo. And the beach area down there is a lot of heavy rocks. That's what it was inspired from.
There is no house in which a Hal Holoun painting does not work within, or if there is, I've yet to find it. Enjoy the show. Hal will be around for a little bit longer, so you know, if you have any questions, you can ask him or somebody, or, you know, and you can always, and the show will be up, I would assume through most of February. So, you know, if you have an opportunity, stop down and you can see the show without all the people. But with that said, I appreciate you coming.